I honestly didn't think I would be writing this update. When I made my original post, I was sitting there questioning myself. I was wondering if I was being selfish, if I was expecting too much, if I was a bad girlfriend for feeling exhausted by constantly being the person who kept everything together. A part of me wanted Reddit to tell me I was wrong, because admitting the truth meant I had to accept something I didn't want to accept. I wasn't just frustrated. I was unhappy. After reading through the thousands of comments from people all over the world, I decided to show my boyfriend the post. I want to be absolutely clear that I didn't do this to embarrass him, humiliate him, or have thousands of strangers attack his character. I showed him because I was desperate. I was drowning in our relationship, and I needed him to finally notice that I couldn't carry the weight of both of our lives on my own shoulders anymore. I loved him, and I wanted us to work. I wasn't trying to say, "You're a terrible person." I was trying to say, "I am hurting, and I need your help." Instead, the exact second his eyes scanned the comments, the energy in the room shifted. Everything changed. He didn't look at my tear-stained face. He didn't ask why I felt like I was drowning. He immediately became angry, his face turning red with frustration. He told me I was publicly humiliating him, that I was painting him as the bad guy to the entire world, and that I had completely betrayed Am's trust by letting total strangers into the private details of our relationship. He kept pacing around the living room, shouting things like, "So this is what you really think of me? And you've just been secretly resenting me this whole time while smiling to my face?" I tried desperately to explain myself. I told him I wasn't hiding some horrible, dark opinion of him. I was trying to explain a deep, heavy feeling of exhaustion that I had been too terrified to say out loud to him, simply because I knew he would react exactly like this. But the defensive walls he built were completely impenetrable. The conversation quickly spiraled out of control into a shouting match. Within 10 minutes, he packed a small duffel bag, grabbed his car keys, and walked out of the apartment, slamming the front door so hard that the pictures hanging on the wall shook. He went to stay at his brother's house, leaving me completely alone in the deafening silence of our apartment. For the next 3 days, there was nothing but dead silence. He didn't text, he didn't call, and I soon discovered he had blocked my number and all of my social media accounts. I spent the first night crying on the couch, but by the second and third day, the quietness of the apartment started to feel different, without his constant demands and the endless chore of cleaning up after his responsibilities. A strange sense of peace began to settle over me. During those 3 days of absolute silence, the thick cloud of confusion finally lifted from my eyes. I realized that his explosive anger wasn't actually about the Reddit post at all. It was about accountability. The internet had looked at the facts of our relationship and validated my feelings, and his ego couldn't handle the truth. He would rather pretend that I was a traitor who betrayed him than look in the mirror and admit that we had been lazy, checked out, and unfair to the woman who loved him. On the fourth night, the silence was broken by the sound of keys jingling in the front door lock. My stomach immediately tied itself into a violent knot. He walked into the kitchen, his posture rigid, and his face completely cold and expressionless. He didn't offer an apology, and he didn't ask how I was doing. Instead, he pulled out a kitchen chair, sat down, and delivered a cold, calculated ultimatum. He told me he would only consider coming back and saving our relationship if I deleted my Reddit account permanently, cut off contact with the close friends who had agreed with my posts, and sat down with his parents to tell them that I had fabricated lies online just to get attention. I stood there by the kitchen counter, looking at him, and for the first time in 3 years, the anxiety and desperation completely left my body. I didn't see the man I wanted to build a future with anymore. I saw a profoundly insecure stranger who valued his pride and public image far more than my mental sanity or my happiness. I slowly reached down, took off the promise ring he had given me on our second anniversary, and placed it gently on the wooden table, sliding it across to his side. I looked him dead in the eye and whispered, I'm not deleting my post. I'm not cutting off my support system. And I am done lying to protect your ego. You can pack the rest of your things and leave. The silence that followed was heavy and suffocating. He stared down at the silver ring on the table, his jaw clenched tightly, realizing in that exact moment that he had completely lost his power and manipulation over me. He didn't yell this time. He spent the next 2 hours packing the rest of his clothes, electronics and books into cardboard boxes in absolute chilling silence. When he finally carried the last box out the front door and closed it for the last time, he didn't look back. As the lock clicked into place, the overwhelming weight I'd been carrying for years instantly vanished from my chest. I was officially alone in an empty apartment, but for the first time in a very long time, I could finally breathe. Click the link below to watch the full story.